Good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope everybody's going to church this Sunday morning or at least attending church online so that you can receive the Word of God. I don't know how people live without, being connected to God and connected to the Word of God. I'm going to give it a little time and see if anybody comes in this morning. I want to ask you guys about your weather in your city. Our weather here in Oklahoma is so crazy. One day it's cold, the next day up in the 20s, and then the next day it's 80, 90 degrees almost. And it's just like, oh my gosh, you don't know what to wear in order to adapt to, the temperature. You're from jacket to coat or to no coat at all. So my mom used to call it pneumonia weather. Back in the day when we were kids, we had to wear t-shirts. That's a thing of the past, I think. I don't think any parents put t-shirts on kids now in 2026. But back in our day, they did. The old people, we had to wear a t-shirt up under our, you know, like shirt that we had on, our blouse that we had on to protect our chests and to keep us from getting colds and things. And it's sad that so many people have done away with the old ways, but the olden days, I mean, people survived. They really did. They survived off of a garden and what have you. And, it's amazing how now, people can barely survive. And, you know that's just basically some you can see the difference in back in my day when I grew up and now. You don't see a lot of apple trees, you don't see a lot of peach trees, you don't see grapevines, you don't see pear trees, you don't see things of that nature. Good morning, someone came in. Good morning, how are you? Hi, how are you this morning? God bless you this morning. Now, I want to say this. Um, I don't want kids on this platform is not for children, and so I want to make that very clear. So, if you are a child, you should exit this platform immediately because I have no way to tell, basically, and I know I block them as I can identify. But I wanted to come on and say good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday to everyone. God bless and keep you in his care. Um, uh, God bless you this morning. And, I'm sitting back this Sunday morning and reflecting on when I grew up. Growing up in the South, it's totally different from city living. Good morning. Good morning. I said good morning. Growing up in the South is totally different from city living. We lived on gardens and fruit that came from the tree, and we would can. And every summer, we'd plant a garden and we'd eat from um that garden. And we would really, really can. And see, canning is a thing of the past now. You don't see a lot of people canning and what have you in 2026. I wanted to get out of that glare, guys. I seen a glare there. So I wanted to sort of turn the camera where I wouldn't be in the glare. Uh, God bless India. I'm praying for your country. I pray for the war over in Iran. Pray for that the Iran people will be able to have their rights and take their country back. And I'm praying for Israel, our holy city, and praying for people all over the world. That's a part of what you do when you're a Christian. You pray. And so I want to get on this morning, and you know me, I'm one that's transparent, and I'm just going to talk about things, you know, uh, that are actually going on. A lot of times people don't want to hear it. I touched a little bit on a short that I did last night which people have a tendency to call people crazy, but people aren't crazy. I hadn't really told you a lot about myself. I want to go into a little bit of my background. I was born in the South, North Carolina, and I grew up there. And I went to school in Asheville, North Carolina. And I, my first husband passed away, and then I remarried. I remarried Oscar Thomas Gerard Hall. And according to my daughter Nakia, he's in the FBI. And I hadn't seen Oscar since we divorced way back in the 90s. So we talked up until the time that he had actually started dating someone. And I told him, I said, you know what, this is where I make my exit. Because in order for you to be happy with someone, you need to be concentrating on them and develop a relationship with them. And so Oscar has been my daughter Nakia's, the person that has been over Nakia's affairs. He has been the one that has took and been there for Nakia, him and his wife and his mother Lily Hall in New York. And this has been going on for years. And Nakia gave him guardianship and power of attorney over her to speak in her behalf if she could not speak. And so Oscar has come to Tulsa, Oklahoma before, and had something on my mouth there, guys. But anyway, I wanted to let people know that this is not stuff that I made up, not at all. And when people attack your character, the way you try to discredit a person is first destroy their reputation and their character. My character speaks for itself because I'm one that speaks out. I wanted to, if you guys can hold on a minute, I think I'm going to pause this. If I can pause this video for just a second, I wanted to show you some things. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back, guys. I just wanted to show you something inside. I moved in this complex back in December, and the only reason I moved out here, and I'm gonna flip it, only reason that I moved out here was because of my daughter's. My oldest daughter has a disability, so this is why I moved. If you go back and look at my videos from about a year ago, you'll see a beautiful apartment complex. I moved out here with her to help take care of her, and she sort of flipped on me. And so when she did, I was sort of like stuck because I have a lease out here for a year. But anyway, I just wanted to show you. This is supposedly be a garden at Tanya and Kelly's house. And, you know, I've tried to make it home as best I can. And this is one of the reasons why I came to this complex. And in coming to this complex, hold on, a lot of things have transpired, whole lot of things. And so I just give God the glory and honor, and I pray my way through things. And, you know, it's just been challenging, very challenging for me because people, you know, I'm a person of light. I'm a person that loves the Lord. And so if you move into a complex where people feel intimidated, and I'm not talking about all people because you have some wonderful people that are here, wonderful people that are here in this complex. But then you have some other people that, you know, they will write up reports that aren't true. I'm not crazy by no means. I just speak out on stuff. I am one to speak out on it. That's a part of what I'm called to do: uncover, reveal. And like I said, you don't have to be crazy to speak out on something. And if someone's doing something to you, you speak about it. And so I'm gonna also show you. I want to show you guys this. Hold on a second. This is the only reason why I moved out here. It was because of my daughter, Vaketra. And then her son, Emmanuel, came to stay with her. And it just seemed like everything went left. She began to come against me, and I had to move this. I'm sorry, I got Easter baskets sitting here in front of the door and a couple other things. Hold on here. I had moved this stuff from outside. The wind was blowing. And so, right here, here's my front door. You can see that her apartment is the one on the right hand side on the end right there. This is the front of the complex and what have you. And like I said, this has been going on for some time. And when I tried to come out here and help her, she came against me and got mad at me and said all kind of things that weren't true. And all I was trying to do was help her. And that was my purpose of moving out here, was to help her, not to cause any confusion or anything. And so, like I said, number one, one of the reasons why I'm doing this live is I have been trying to contact my daughter Nakia since December. I haven't seen her since December. And to no avail. Let me turn this air off. It's getting chilly. Hold on a second. There we go. And to no avail, I haven't heard from her. So any parent is going to worry if they don't hear from their child. And I reached out to my son, and he said, I haven't heard from her. I don't know, Mom, what's going on. And so he said, if it's something serious, you know, her boyfriend Coco promised that her fiance Coco promised that he would contact us. Well, I haven't heard anything from Nakia, nothing from anybody. I'm sincerely worried about her because she has leukemia and she has heart failure. And so I've been worried really a whole lot about her. And so when Emmanuel came to Vaketra's place, he let a lot of people in her house that shouldn't have been in her house. Number one, I think she would have done a lot better in her apartment by herself versus in her apartment with other people in there. And so on numerous occasions down in that area, and I am not lying to you guys, all of those that are filled with the Holy Ghost and power, pray and ask the Lord to show you. I would hear someone beating someone and her screaming, no, I didn't tell her. No, I didn't say it. Don't you say anything. I have no clue as to what's going on. I don't. But like I said, neither am I crazy, neither am I lying. I wouldn't lie about any of this, none of this. And so this thing has just went on and on and on and on. And so my ex, Oscar Thomas Gerard Hall, he's from New York City, and he's in the feds. And so when I reached out to Oscar and I told him, I said, if something happens to my daughter and I don't know anything about it, I'm going to be very, very upset with you. No reply. Hadn't heard a word from him. And so at that point, I contacted a private investigator to start looking into some of the things that I asked him to look into for me. And so, like I said, to carry a narrative and say that a woman is crazy and a woman did this and a woman did that, my identity was stolen. And, I told you guys I was 71. I'm sorry. I'm going to retract that. I'm 70, not 71. But I don't look it. I don't feel it. I take very good care of myself. Yesterday, I went out and despite of all of what's going on and planted my flowers yesterday and came in and I redid a rack for the kitchen to put stuff up on in the kitchen. And so, like I said, this thing has went on and on and on. I am not the person causing problems in this apartment complex. I do believe that it is my light, my standard of living, my ethics, my values that causes a problem. And like I said, you don't see me out on camera doing anything. Neither did you see me out on camera at the last place doing anything. But like I said, I'm really concerned about my daughter. And a lot of this I post for the feds because I'm concerned about Nakia. I really am. I want to know what's going on with my daughter. I want to know if she's okay. I want to know if everything is all right with her. And like I said, I moved out here to help take care of my other daughter. And then once Emmanuel got in there, everything went left. And so Emmanuel, um, that's my grandson, he began to take, and well, number one, I'll back up a little. He was mad at me for the simple fact that ATF made him surrender his assault rifle. And when he had to render the assault rifle, he was angry with me. And so it was a thing of retaliation and what have you. And like I said, he is the gatekeeper for that apartment. Anything that goes on in my daughter Vaiketra's apartment, he is the gatekeeper. He is the one that lets people up in there. He's the one that, um, runs it, not me. Hadn't seen her. Well, I've seen her a couple of times. In her, she has a chair that she rides in, and so I've seen her a couple of times in it, but have not said anything to her, talked to her since December. And so to call someone crazy and continue to do this to them, and I'm being persecuted for something that I didn't even do. We're in 2026, and do you realize that AI can make you look like you're doing any kind of stuff? I mean, I've lived on the planet 70 years and have never ever broke the law, by the law. I've got some tickets in the past. I paid them immediately. And I mean, it's just got to a point where it's totally out of control. And then to call someone crazy, the FBI could look at me now in the whole 9 yards and know that I'm not crazy. This is a narrative that they have painted to get me to shut my mouth. All of this stuff has went on. Emmanuel should have, number one, never been in that apartment. And, I would have been able to help my daughter, do whatever it was that she needed to do. Now, I'm not against her having a relationship with someone, but I am against her having a relationship with someone if they're beating her or hurting her. That I would definitely be against. But as far as her living her life and being happy, I want that for her. I think you want that for all of your children. You want them to be able to be with someone that's saved, Holy Ghost filled, on fire for God, and the whole 9 yards. And like I said, this is definitely defamation of character towards me, gossip, slander, and the whole 9 yards. I have I live on my own. I take care of myself. Like I said, I keep this place immaculate. My rent is $1,000 a month. I do not pay. I do not have Section 8, period. So I pay straight up rent. And so all of this to go on and in this complex, and it's a simple solution. All you have to do is look at the video footage. In the middle of the night, there is so much activity going on, and people say, well, I'm not going to jail for this, and I'm not doing this, and I'm like looking out the window and the whole 9 yards. I'm like, Lord, what is going on? And I'm talking about out my back door at the parking lot. That's a little bit of ways. If you were coming out of the laundry room, you could see it. It's parked on the I mean, it's actually the car pulled up. It's a white car with a tail on the back of it last night, and a bald-headed guy got out of there, and it was like an argument going on, and they were saying, I am not going to jail for this. I'm not going to go to jail. I'm not going down for this. And so I have no idea what that was all about. But it has got to a point where it is totally out of control. People don't like me. One neighbor had put some medicine in front of my door, and I got upset about it. I have insurance. I have a doctor. I don't need somebody's meds in front of my door. And anybody that's intelligent know that if you get caught with somebody else's medication, that's straight up jail time. I'm not stupid. And so it wasn't anything to offend that individual. It just upset me because you put it in front of my door. I don't want things put in front of my door. Another thing, having the previous tenant that lived here, she was scared to death. And I tried to talk to her, but she was afraid of retaliation. And as far as someone up in the attic, and someone was definitely up in the attic. I put my own self in counseling because I think that was the right thing to do to help me process all that I've went through. And so when I put myself in counseling, when I heard them walking in the attic, and this was not a shutter banging, I know the sound of the shutter from the wind when the wind blows. This was literally someone in the attic. And you have to go by the person's word because you don't see, they put a video camera up there. You don't see what's on that video camera. You just have to take that person's word that what they're saying is true. But being an intelligent Black woman, what I did was I recorded the noise. So during my counseling session last week, all of the counseling sessions when you're on camera, all of them are videoed, and I let the actual therapist hear this noise up in the attic. And you could hear them. They sounded like they were walking up there doing stuff. I don't know what they be doing up in the attic. The maintenance man changed my locks on my door 4 times, and I didn't even ask for my locks to be changed. And another thing I wanted to show you guys. They said now the only access to the attic is through my bedroom. So I want to flip this and show you guys because I think it's important that people know that, I'm not crazy. I don't sit down and make up things. So here you go. See that right there? Here's my bed here. This is directly over my bed. And so this was where the individual in these older complexes, you can walk from the back of the building and you can go into anyone's apartment. Here in the bathroom, I want to show you this. Up in the ceiling, you can see 2 places there. I had to stuff stuff up there because it was a silver thin rod coming down. It looked like it had a camera on it. This one right here was completely punched out. And I showed Zach, made him aware of all of this. And so I don't know if maybe it's because I'm a nice looking woman. I don't know. I just know that something is terribly wrong. And I don't have to sit down. I don't have to lie. And I definitely don't have to make up things. I'm never going to sit down and make up things where the police can come back and say something to me. And so I have heard a loud noise, a woman screaming and saying, "No, I didn't tell her." I have no idea what's going on. No idea. I don't know who my daughter got herself involved with. I don't know what happened to her. Like I said, I haven't seen my daughter and the kids since she brought me a Christmas present, which was a TV over here. And I hadn't moved into the apartment fully. I had just started moving my stuff in here. And so, like I said, yes, my getting back to the part of my husband, Oscar Thomas Gerard Hall. Yes, he is in the FBI. I don't have to make up lies. I don't have to tell lies. He is. And so I started reaching out. The FBI is all over my page on YouTube. I start reaching out to different ones. And, I don't know what all of this moving people in the middle of the night and one place to another, I have no idea. But cameras don't lie, mouths do. Anyone can go downtown. If I wanted to be wicked, I could go downtown and I could tell a bunch of lies downtown on any neighbor in here and call them crazy. That is not my desire. I don't do stuff like that, but I do tell the truth. And so, I had no idea when I moved in that any of this stuff was going on. I did not know. And so it's just been a continuous thing over and over and over again. And I think part of it is when a nice looking woman moves into a complex and maybe the man, just say hypothetically, allegedly, the man next door may like you or like how you look. At 70 years old, I am very shapely, in good shape. good health and the whole 9 yards. And when I put on my clothes, I look good. And so, a lot of times men cannot handle rejection. But rejection, to me, the way that my mother taught me, rejection has always been a positive in my life due to the fact that rejection means redirection. If God is taking you from something, He's taking you to something. And so that's how I look at rejection. I look at it as a healthy uh, thing in my life. And so you don't fall apart, you don't come unglued and the whole 9 yards, but you're not going to take my good name and run it through the mud like I'm a criminal or I'm crazy. Anything that I tell you, believe me, I have a video that can prove it. And if anything was to happen, I'm telling you, my therapist, like I said, I put my own self in counseling because I felt like when things happen in your life, a lot of people are afraid of counseling. They're afraid of getting to the root of issues and processing things and trauma and all this, that goes on. It's called just life. It happens, but it's how you deal with it in your life that's important. And so when she could hear this, I said, I just want you to know that I'm not crazy. Do you hear all of this? You could hear the walking, you could hear the stumping. And on my end, on the video, I could actually hear the talking. But yet and still, the maintenance guy was telling me nothing was on the video. Somebody's lying, it's not me, because I have the video. You see it pointing up at the ceiling. And like I said, it was recorded by the therapist. And she was like, Carrie, you're not crazy. I hear this. I hear it myself. And so it happens in the middle of the night, happens if I take a shower. Um, I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't, but I'm not one to sit back and keep my mouth shut. That I'm not. I am not. I am not the one to sit back and keep my mouth shut. When something is going on, I'm going to speak on it. And like I said, this has been going on for quite some time. I don't know what my daughter Vikitra is doing. And like I said, she's grown, she's in her 50s. And, if she wants to live her life a certain way, that's her. But here's the thing, no woman deserves to have someone put their hands on her. No one deserves to be choked out, threatened, hurt, beat, and then some thug turn it around and say, hey, look at here, don't you open your mouth, don't you say anything. And Emmanuel is terrified. You could tell by his just body language. I'm very educated. So I have a bachelor's, 2 masters, and a PhD. And I don't look at things that come out of the mouth. I look at the whole package, body language, everything. And so, whatever was going on with Emmanuel, whatever he got himself into, whatever he got my daughter into by being in that apartment, he shouldn't even be in there, because that's how the madness started in all the other places that they lived. If the owner would just go back and check with every place that they rented with before, you will see the same drama go on. And it's because once he gets up in that apartment, he takes over. He takes over the apartment. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I wanted to talk about the fraud that was committed against me. Getting back to it, AI now in 2026, someone can look like they can do a background of you at somebody's door and you talking and whatever. You look just like you're there, but it's not you. And the FBI and other agencies are able to determine whether or not it's real or whether or not it's fake. I know on DocuSigns, I would tell people, do not keep DocuSigns in your email. Someone can get your signature. When I was in college, I had to sign a lot of loans and things. And so, you know how you do the DocuSign, and when you sign the loans and things, they take and upload it for your financial aid and stuff. And I thought they were safe in my email. Well, my email got hacked. My entire computer, it got hacked. And so a friend of mine, I didn't have all the money to send this stuff to digital forensics. He said, Carrie, I'm going to send it. And so that was given to him. And so I am not the kind of person that comes in a complex and bother anybody. If I don't want to associate with people and stay to myself and just say hello, how are you, God bless you, goodbye, then I don't see anything wrong with that. And if I don't want to be bothered with a man, I don't have to be. And for people to tell lies and paint me out to be the problem or doing something wrong, no, that's just not me. I stay in my house, I tend to my business, I stay to myself. That doesn't make me crazy. Doesn't make me crazy at all. It's just that I'm the type of person, you're not going to pull me down where you are. You either come up where I am. I challenge you to come up where I am, but you're not going to pull me where you are. And I have people that always challenge me to come up higher, which I love. It's called accountability, and which some people don't know anything about. I am not a street person. I know nothing about the streets. Anybody can go downtown and lie and say a person is doing this, a person is crazy. But the proof is in the pudding. I just went through this on Friday when I went to DHS, and I went down there and they saw, and they know, they actually know that I'm fine. And like I said, they keep this drama going. Why? Why are you so upset at me? Why is it that my light, disturbs your darkness? Why is it that, the way I live disturb you? That's my question. And like I said, I am not a criminal. Believe me, I'm not a criminal. I don't do criminal activity. I don't get myself involved in things like that. So when you see people that do that, they got something to hide. And I'm quite sure they may think they're smart. They can go down there and this guy, bald headed, dark skinned guy, live middle way down in the complex. He can tell them, don't you open your mouth. Well, you know what? The police and the FBI aren't stupid people. And if you're pegging the FBI, U.S. Marshal, uh, even Light Horse and other agencies here in Tulsa to be stupid, OSBI. Oh my God, they're smarter than you could ever be. And by not telling the truth and saying, shut up, don't say anything, believe me, they'll get to the truth. And when they do, they'll find out that I am not the problem. I am not the problem. Not at all. And like I said, to sit back and see some of the, I can't go into it and I won't go into some of the things that I've seen and what have you, and some of the things that I've encountered. But it's wrong. It's totally wrong. And so, like I said, I get on and I speak about it because I want people to be able to see me. I want people to be able to hear me, and the whole 9 yards. And like I said, it's a lot, I'm telling you. And for a man to sit back and constantly come after a woman when she tells him no, no means no. I don't want a street thug. I don't want somebody that break the law and commit crimes and beat on women and hurt women and pressure them into choke them out and make them do what he want to do. I had a daddy, had a good one. I don't need a daddy. And like I said, I am one to speak out. And I know it's going to bring a lot of controversy, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to speak out on things because if you don't, it just continuously gets worse and worse and worse and worse, you know? And like I said, when I sit down and I look at the things that go on, and my daughter and some of the choices that she's made, she's grown. But why would you want to be with someone that would hurt you? Why would you want to be around people that, want to do you harm? And where would you get money, Emmanuel, get money to buy a house or to purchase anything? Where would he get that kind of money? He doesn't have that kind of money. If he did, he would go back and he would pay all those things that are against him down by Union Apartments near Union High School, where he got evicted from that complex and many other complex, the complex on 61st Street. Why haven't you went back if you have all that money and paid the people the money that you owed them when you got evicted? It's all in the records in the court system. And like I said, to come into a complex and just paint a narrative that I'm a bad person, I think the owner would tell you when my daughter came in here, I was working overtime to get her stuff straightened out and to make sure that she was okay and safe. And we got her in here and the whole 9 yards. He even said, he said, I've been in this business for 20 years and 19, 20 years, and I've never seen anybody get done what you got done in one day. That shows you that I was an advocate for my daughter. But the one thing I'm not going to do is be involved with a bunch of street thugs. Now you can be mad at me, scratch your behind till you get glad. That's all I can tell you. That's not my lifestyle. That's not what I do. And like I said, when it comes to video footage and things, people's mouths lie, but videos don't lie. Now you can't sit back and do people like this. And I think if the owner took time and he went through videos and he actually looked at stuff, he would be able to see things his own self. I mean, it's just unbelievable. 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 And so, like I said, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. And I just stay in my house. That's what I do. I stay in my apartment, tend to my business. And even if I stay in my apartment, it bothers a few people on the complex. And like I said, you can say whatever you want to, but you have to prove it. You have to prove this stuff. You just can't get on here and say that I'm this and I'm that, and when none of that is going on. Like I said, you'll see me on camera yesterday, planting flowers and painting a thing that I found that I wanted to. I said, wow, I could use this to set some things up on and make more space, have more space and clearing areas in my kitchen. I'm not a criminal. I'm sorry. Don't want a man in the street. Sorry. Don't want one. And I am not the kind of woman that you're going to tell me I'm going to go with somebody. And no, I'm not. I'm not going anyone. I'm not going with anybody through force or anything like that. To tell somebody that you gonna go with this. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I have a right as a woman to say no. What part of no don't you understand? The N or the O? And so this has been an ongoing thing. Ongoing. And to sit back and say all this stuff about me and oh, she's crazy and she's this and she's that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Like I said, I sit here, I tend to my business. But I'm quite sure that's why I go ahead and I post things. They probably haven't met a woman like me that's going to sit down and stand up for herself. I mean, I'm going to sit in this chair and literally stand up for Carrie because I know me, I know my character, and I know who I am. And like I said, I wouldn't have never ever came out here except it was my daughter that needed the help. And I came out here wanting to help her. And then all of a sudden, I'm controlling. No, I'm not controlling. I'm a mother. Let me explain to you guys, I'm a mother. And when you have an older daughter that's going with a married man and he's 80 something years old, and you're trying to just speak into her life and tell her this is not the thing to do. This man is married. This woman then got after you one time, and Mr. Hill's wife has got after you one time. And she just went off on me. Oh, you want to be celibate and you don't want to have sex, but you want me to live like you. And I mean, got cussed out the whole 9 yards. If the owner would go back to the video footage in December, he'll see me pulling my stuff in the middle of the night crying. I just could not believe that she would even do that to me. And I haven't been in her apartment since way before Christmas, way before Christmas. Nowhere near it. I don't even go out my front door to avoid her because I know how Emmanuel and her will lie. So I use my back door, which a neighbor back here has a camera, and you can see me going out my back door to the laundromat, to the grocery store, when I have to go out to different places to handle business. I don't use my front door. So if I'm not using my front door, how am I bothering you? What man are you with that's scaring you half to death? I'm just shocked at all this. I am shocked. And when I got that thing from her complex of the damages that was done by Emmanuel to that apartment, after it was fixed, the bathroom was actually demolished. And that's when I began to speak up. And I'm like, hey, I am not paying for this. Almost $5,000 worth of damage after the bathroom was redone and the whole walls. What the bathroom in that apartment really needed down there was a remodel, which would have been $6,000. I don't have that kind of money. And so when they started serving me with paper, sending me all this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm just the emergency contact person. I am not over her. I don't have power of attorney over her. I don't have guardianship over her. I don't have anything over her. You deal with her. This is her bill, not mine. And so that's when I began to speak out. And it's just totally wrong to do me like this. I have a young lady in North Carolina that has been my goddaughter for years. She'll tell you how I treat her. I treat my daughter the same way. But the difference between my goddaughter and my daughter, I can speak into her life as a mom, as a god mom, and she listens to me. You know, none of us are perfect. We've all had our time out there in the world, but it doesn't mean that someone's crazy when they care about you and they don't want you to see you go down a wrong path. So you gave me a boundary in December, and understand this, I am extremely intelligent and I know what boundaries are. So I live by that boundary, no contact, let you live your life, tend to my business. So if I'm doing that from December, January, February, here it is March, 4 months now, almost. And what is the problem? You don't see me bothering you. So what is the problem? What is all that activity you got going on? Who is the women that Emmanuel are bringing up in there? The kids. I know Emmanuel's kids, but who's the girl with the kids? And this is not even your apartment. And this is how problems start. And people are going to lie. They're going to do whatever they can do. But I'm going to tell you the one thing don't lie is videos. Videos do not lie. And someone made a comment. She stays up in her bedroom all the time. Well, if you look back at my previous videos, I guess last year, look back at last year and the year before, you'll see that my apartment was immaculate. And I had a couch, I had a big sectional, but I'm almost 6 feet tall. And so when I'd sit on it, it was brand new, my knees would hurt. I'd have problems getting up. Well, at that time, I did not know that on Amazon, I could get legs for the couch, the screw in kind that would make the couch taller and keep my couch. Well, because it was low, I let it go. And so I don't have a couch in here and I have chairs, but I don't want to sit in a chair when I got a cow king bed that I can stretch out on all day. And I don't know how a neighbor can get up all in my business that I'm in the bed all the time. It's because I don't have anything to sit on in there. And so by being on my bed, I'm comfortable. I got good circulation. My legs are stretched out. I shouldn't have to explain any of that to anyone at any time. I just think that a lot of times when a nice looking woman moves up into a complex that carries herself, you know, very classy, very elegant, carries herself in a manner that, other people may not carry themselves in, then, you think you're better than anybody that knows me. I've never thought that I was better than anybody else. I'm always giving someone a hand up, helping someone, directing them into a direction to better themselves. I'm not a mean person. I'm none of that. By no means am I a narcissist. I just tell the truth. And the truth will set you free because videos don't lie. Video cameras do not lie. So all during the night, I think it was, I should have looked at the video that I took about, I think it was three something in the morning. And the white car with the flap on the back, the big tail on the back of it, and the bald-headed guy, and them saying that I'm not going to jail for this. I'm not going down for this. And so I don't know what all that was about and really don't care. But when it wakes you up, all of this noise, and like I said, a lot of people, they can pretty much do what they want to do every month. But with me, my rent is high. And so I pay cash. I don't have Section 8 to help me. And so I have a right to live without all that drama. In the middle of the night, you get woke up, bam, bam, bam on the door. I keep a log, and it was on March the 18th at 2:40 a.m. A neighbor was running, and he was bamming on the neighbor next to me's door, and he was saying they're coming to get me. He was trying to he was running, and he was saying, I can't run, they're coming to get me. He had a dark blue jogging suit on, and I'll just say that. And all that bamming in the middle of the night, all this noise. I've never in my life seen anything like this. Nothing like this. Why is this going on? And what money is it? This is another thing that I want to get to. What money am I supposed to have that somebody think is hidden in this house? Do you think that I just fell off the back of a cabbage truck? I know where I'm at. Do you think I would actually have money up in this house? I would probably say I have $7 and nickels, dimes, and some nickels, dimes, and quarters. I don't keep money in this house at all. So this thing of wanting to pull somebody out of here and some of the things I've heard, I'm not crazy. I'm going to tell the truth. And the videos don't lie. All the owner has to do is go through the video footage. Just go through the footage and look at it. This makes no sense. No sense at all. Somebody was banging on my door the other day, and my different mail was going to different places, and I was so grateful to a neighbor. She didn't even take it out of her box. It was something that was, due me from IRS, and she brought it over to me, and she said, Carrie, this was put in my box. And so I have filed with the postal inspector to look into this because my identity had been stolen and crimes were being committed in my name. So, like I said, at my age, I'm not going to sit down and try to commit crimes or do anything that's wrong. Whoever is doing this, I pray to God that the feds, U.S. Marshal, and all get them. That's why I put them on my page. If you look on my page and you go through all the people that I've subscribed to, you'll see that I'm subscribed to OSBI. I'm subscribed to the FBI, Secret Service. I'm subscribed to so many law enforcement agencies. Now, if criminals don't do that. And another thing I wanted to say, years ago, I got a check in the mail. And if you think I'm lying, check it out through the FBI's office in Tulsa. And it was a large check. I wasn't working at the time. It was a check for $2,500. And so when I got it in the mail, I took it to my bank. And I said, can you tell me who sent this to me? Because it was just a check with you know how normally on a check in the left-hand corner at the top, it will say who it's from. This particular check was yellow and it did not say who it was from. And so I wasn't about to cash it. And so I went to my bank. They said, we have no idea. We can't see who this check is from. So I wouldn't cash it. So then I left there and I went to the police department. They said, we don't know who it's from, ma'am. So at that point, I went to the FBI and I said, look, I got this check in the mail. It's $2,500. I have no idea who it is. It's made out to me. And I wanted you guys to take a look at it. Well, when I came up to the FBI's office there on 61st, first of all, they asked for my name, they asked for my ID, my social, and they did a background check on me. At that point, I went to the right in a room with an agent, and the cameras were on me. And he sit and he talked to me. And I explained to him that I had got this check in the mail and I had no idea who it came from. The bank couldn't tell me who sent it to me, the police department. So I came to you guys. And so the FBI guy looked at the check and he took it back in the room. He says, I'll be right back. And I'm sitting there and I could see the camera pointing directly at me in that room. And so he came back and he says, ma'am, he says, without running this check a little bit more, we don't know exactly who sent it to you. And so I said, well, I tell you what, if you are the FBI and you can't tell me who sent this check to me, I'm going to sign it over to you. And he did like this and looked at me like, you're going to sign it over to us for real? I said, for real. I said, because number one, Carrie didn't work for it. I didn't earn this check. And so I'm not going to take money that I don't know where it's coming from. And so I signed the check over to the FBI and I made them give me a copy of it with their stamp on it, showing the date and time that I signed it over to the FBI. Does that sound like a criminal to you? Absolutely no. So whoever started this narrative by the things that you're doing that are illegal, eventually it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you. And like I said, Emmanuel, I don't know what he's doing. I honestly do not know what he's doing, but I do know one thing, that my daughter, Nakia, was extremely upset when ATF sent a letter to her house in his name. She did not open it. She immediately called her dad, Oscar, that's in the FBI, my ex-husband. And he looked into where the letter came from, and sure enough, he found out that it was from ATF was demanding that Emmanuel turn in his assault rifle to them immediately. And so whether or not it was turned in, I don't know. But the one thing I'm going to get on here and tell the truth. I'm tired of people sitting here calling me crazy. Come pick her up. We want to put her in a home. We want to put her in a mental institution. By no means am I crazy. Where is my daughter Nakia? That's what I want to know. Where is Kia? What happened to her? Why haven't I heard anything from her when I text? Why haven't I heard anything at all? And I asked my son, I never get a response from anybody. And so, as a mother, yes, I'm concerned. But if you tell me as a child of mine that, tend to your business, if I want to have sex, I'll have sex. I want to do this, I'll do it. Then you do it. But don't you ever, in Jesus' name, bring me up in the middle of some mess that I had nothing to do with. That's when you'll get in trouble. And Emmanuel, with the group of people that he's running with, I'm telling you, they mean him no good. And he's got himself involved in something. And whoever this bald-headed guy is that was threatening people, dark-skinned, bald-headed, short, I have no idea who this man is. Have no idea who he is. And like I said, for you to say, I have some money? No, I don't have any money. Nope. You find $7 up in here and like I said, some change. And I wouldn't be stupid enough to keep money in an apartment if I had some money. I'm not money hungry. Money is not my God. If you go to this YouTube channel, and I want everybody that watches this video, go to the YouTube channel. You'll see on this YouTube channel that there is no way to send me any kind of money. As a matter of fact, I say the love of God is free. The gospel of Jesus Christ is free. Encouragement is free. Prayer is free. I'm not on here trying to make a living. And I'm not on here trying to make a living out of somebody else's pain. I just get on here and I talk about life. And I told you it's not about education. Maybe one day it will be. And some of the things we went through our PhD program and all of that, maybe it will be. But right now I talk about life. I talk about things that affect people on a daily basis, how people lie on them, how they try to, take and just stump their whole life out due to jealousy. A lot of people are just afraid of potential. And then they'll paint you off to people. This person don't want anything. She don't want to have anything. How can you have anything when you got some people in authoritarian positions that follow you to every job you have, go and tell the employer a bunch of lies, and boom, they let you go for no reason at all. This makes no sense whatsoever. So leave my name out of your mouth. If you're criminals and you're out there in the street and you're doing wrong, leave my name out of your mouth. And I'm speaking especially to my grandson, Emmanuel. You're moving dirty, Emmanuel, real dirty. And believe me, it will catch up with you. I don't know what's going on, but it's a lot of mess. Do not put me in the middle of that mess. Neighbors already know, the few that I talk to, they already know I come out my back door so that you can't even say that you seen me or I'm anywhere around you. And whoever this man was that was telling you, I want that car taken from her. I want that car. I want you to bring her to me. I'm going to tell you something, Emmanuel. You're going to wind up in jail messing with me. I am not the one. Whatever you're doing, you better do it to somebody else. So whatever it is you got going on, dude, you better do. And another thing I wanted to talk about was my granddaughter, Vaquidra. I sent her some money and I did not have a Cash App address for her. Uh, so I went ahead and sent it to her fiance at Lowe's. And I'm well aware, Vicitra has a mouth that, like, diarrhea of the mouth. So she tells everybody everything. And so I'm aware that you are pregnant and that you're going to have a baby. I have nothing. I have nothing, nothing to hide, nothing. I would be willing to talk to the FBI any day of the week, any day of the week. But Emmanuel is the one that causes all those problems down in there in that apartment. You know, if you hadn't have been in there, none of this mess would have went down. Like I said, I left a beautiful apartment to come help my daughter. I did. And so, like I said, I just do not understand. I do not understand for the life of me. And another thing that I wanted to touch on, why would somebody terrorize tenants that come in this apartment? The previous tenant, and then me. Somebody's doing that. And somebody in maintenance is definitely lying for the simple fact that I'm telling you, all of that I hear up there at night is not a critter. It's not an animal. This was somebody walking. You could smell the weed so bad coming into my bedroom, and I was just wheezing. And then on days there were people up in the attic, and you could smell, I don't know what this was. I don't know if they were painting something. It smelled like paint, thinner paint. It smelled like chemicals. I have no idea what's going on. But something is definitely going on. I don't have to lie. And when you can get on a therapy session with a therapist and let her hear what you heard in the middle of the night that woke you up, there is no critter that can walk like that. You'd have to be a bear to make that kind of noise, or something really tall and big. And to have the flap pulled, trying to pull up on the flap in my bedroom, somebody's lying, and it's surely not me. And that's why I took the time to video right up in the wall, immediately got my video camera, and I began the video. And I said, "What is that?" And she could hear it. And I said, "I just want to let you know what they're saying about me, that I'm crazy. Do you hear this?" And she said, "Yes, I do. You're not crazy," which I knew anyway. But somebody's painting this narrative. And they've been doing this to tenants that come in here in this apartment for quite some time. The last person, right before I moved in, she was looking at me and just shaking her head, just like scared. And I was like, what is going on? And I've never talked to this tenant. I don't even know her name. I just seen them when they were moving things out of here. when I had opened the door to get mail at my daughter's apartment when I stayed there. And she looked at me and just shook her head like scared. And when she left up out of here, uh, I had no idea that this woman had experienced this. And so this went on for I don't know how long. And I said, I'm not going to say anything because they'll think I'm crazy. And so it got to the point when they pulled that flap up there over my bed and they were pulling on it. No animal is going to pull on a flap. No animal at all is going to pull on a flap. A critter is not going to pull on a flap. That's when I finally said something to the older maintenance man. And I said, you're going to think I'm the craziest black woman in America. I said, but somebody was up over my bed in there. And when I take a shower and they hear the water come on, whoever it was coming to, up in the area where the water was. And when this thing came down through there, it was silver, real thin, and it had a little square on the end of it, looked like a camera. And I tried to catch it and pull it out of the person's hand. And then all of a sudden, they pulled back on it, and I got a burn mark in the center of my hand. And so that never happened. It happened one time. But that whole thing was punched out. And I showed Zach, it was punched out. And I'm like, this is crazy. But when I did tell the older man, he said, call the owner immediately. Tell him immediately. And I did. And I said, why? He said, because the previous tenant that was here complained of the same thing. And the owner asked her to leave. And I'm like, this is crazy. I had no idea. No idea. And I think it's because I'm a very shapely, very nice looking woman that there's somebody in here. I know it's not the older gentleman. He can't get up in there, but there's a lot of people come in and out of that house. Somebody was up in that attic. And like I said, I'm pretty sure after I had that session that the actual therapist I had the session with actually probably sent that to the police. So no one's going to lie. Nobody's going to sit up here and lie about anything. I'm not going to lie about anything. What is really going on in the middle of the night? Why are people being moved around? What is going on? What is all the noise? What is the running from apartment to apartment? I heard a neighbor say, call the ambulance for for Manny. I don't know where Manny was, but whoever it was, I don't know if they were breathing or something had happened to them. What the heck is going on? Videos don't lie, people. Videos do not lie. And like I said, I'm not going to get on here and say something and it's public where people will sit back and come back and call me all kind of names. I've been called everything but a child of God. The things that they are saying about me, my lifestyle, if the police, the FBI, the OSBI, the U.S. Marshal, or anybody else was following me, their lies aren't lining up with my lifestyle. Now, you can sit down and get mad because I tell a man, no, I don't want your recliner. No, I don't put no medicine in front of my door. No about certain things. And you get mad, that's your problem, not mine. I don't have to have you up in my home. I rent this for my peace and for my safety. I don't have to have you up in my home. And like I said, this stuff evidently was going on before I came in here and everybody was comfortable with it, but I am not comfortable with that. And I shouldn't have to move because you are doing things. What is this with terrorizing a woman every time she comes up into this apartment? And the younger man that's doing this, I know exactly who's doing this. I see him in the middle of the night taking out someone's trash in their apartment. So I wanted to get on here and talk about this because, like I said, when you keep your mouth shut, that's why nothing is ever done when you keep your mouth shut. Tyler Perry made a profound statement one time in one of his videos, and this is what he said. When someone is doing something to hurt you, don't you sit there and keep your mouth shut. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. And so, like I said, if you don't want me to say nothing, don't do it. Just leave me be. You won't see me bothering you. I go where I go, I come back. But like I said, this has went on a very long time. And who was this man that told you to take this money, Emmanuel, and get your mom a place to live? Where did you get this money from? You don't have that kind of money. Where'd you get it from? So these are things that I want to ask. Inquiring minds want to know. And the last thing I'm going to say is, where's my daughter, Nakia? Is she okay? That's my thing. Is she all right? I pray to God that she is. I pray for her every day. And like I said, they try to turn you into the bad guy. Like I said, never did I give anyone power of attorney over me. Never one time have I ever given anybody signed any papers for land to be taken from me, a house to be taken from me, or anything to be taken from me. As a matter of fact, I don't know anything about a house and land. But I'm just covering things. I have never, even in the inheritance, I have never ever given anybody any permission to take anything, be over anything, or if there is something, it's false. It's something that they falsified. It definitely was not me that gave nobody permission. Why would I give a total stranger whom I don't even know, power of attorney over me or my affairs? Did that make sense to you guys? Don't make sense to me at all. And so to continue to keep this narrative going, and that's why I get on Facebook. Not on Facebook, but YouTube, so you guys can actually see me. None of this is going on. And I don't walk in fear. As a matter of fact, I went down to DHS the other day and stayed down there from 8 o'clock to about 11 o'clock talking to them. So, like I said, this is totally, totally crazy. Somebody did this and somebody's lying, and it surely is not me. There is no money in this apartment at all. So whoever told you that lie, you better go check their apartment, because that's probably where the money is. And with all this stuff up in the attic going on, what's up there? That somebody got to go in there all the time. I don't like having the access from my apartment. I really don't. I don't like having that access, because that way you're coming in my place. I don't like that at all. At all. And the changing of my locks continuously. We got to get in there. We got to get in there. We got to do this. We got to do that. And I'm like, this is crazy. I don't even think the owner knows that you're changing my locks so much. And I pray to God that you give my keys or anything to someone else. This is just unreal. But like I said, if you think I'm going to sit back and not say something, I'm going to say something. You can have a retired nurse write up anything they want to write up. I could care less. All of this came from a neighbor, and I have proof where the owner can see it, all the things that she said about the tenants that were in here, and all of this, and how the narrative, I'm a violent offender from Hawaii, and I'm not on the section. I mean, I didn't tell this stuff. She did. This is all her mess that she sat down and started. But people are upset with me. And you got a couple of thugs in here that like to handle women and put their hands on them. Put your hands on me. I'm going straight to the feds, the police. And like I said, this stuff has got to stop. All it would take time for the FBI, the police, to come and go through the video footage here. You wouldn't see me doing anything but in the backyard planting flowers. Coming back with laundry. I took my laundry the other day to a laundromat outside of the complex to do my laundry, and brought it back. So I don't know where all this stuff is coming from. I really don't. But when you have a couple of tenants that have been here a long time and lie, just because their mouth open and shut like a Bible don't mean they're telling the truth. One of them cussed me out right in the parking lot. It's on video. And I just said, praise you, Jesus. Father, I thank you. And just walked on and didn't open my mouth. That's intimidation. Why? Why are you doing me like this? Why is it that my light, because I love the Lord and I really live right, bother you? If you're running downtown and you're telling all this stuff, you must be the problem. And you know what? I've never been in law enforcement a day in my life. But if you're running down there continuously telling all this stuff, then you have got to be the one that's behind this. So every time you do it, I'm going to get on. And this is what I do. This is part of what I do. My mom always taught me as a little girl growing up, stand for something, fall for anything. I don't have time to sit up here and get on here and make up lies and things. I don't. But I tell you what, if a man ever puts his hands on me, if you think that you're going to intimidate me and make me shut up, I'm not Vikitra. I'm Carrie. My name is Carrie. You're not going to do that to me. And so they can spill their narrative, all of this, and say, oh, we got to put her somewhere. We got to do that. You don't have to put me anywhere. I take good care of myself. And so, like I said, to sit back and do a woman like this because you want some money and you want to be over it, I would ask the FBI to look closer into this stuff and see how these individuals got this money. How did they get this money? If there is money, how did they get it? How did they get to be over this money? How? That's what I want to know, because I've never signed anything. I've never got any paperwork from court. I've never got any type of check in the mail. If there was a check and it came in my name, somebody else signed it. Surely it wasn't me, because I didn't receive it. And so, like I said, I'm making these videos so it's easier for the feds to catch these individuals. I have no reason to lie. My mail was being stopped where I couldn't receive my mail. If you could look at all the times that I put in with the postal inspector, my mail was being sent. I would do a change of address, and I took a picture, and as a matter of fact, went to the Apache post office here in Tulsa, and the black man that's over that post office, he was right there with me, seeing me take pictures of it. I give him my ID, take a picture of it, the change of address. As soon as I put the change of address in, my mail was rerouted to another address. And this went on and on and on. So if some paperwork came for me to sign about something, I never got it, because it will show with the post office and the postal inspector how many times that I have filed with them because I wasn't getting my mail. And then they started sending it back to the previous address after the address was changed 4 times. And a package was sent over there, and he intercepted that and held that at the post office and told me to come and get it. He said, I'm even going to file. I was here when you put a change of address in. So whoever it is intercepting the mail, if there was something sent in the mail that I was supposed to sign, trust me, somebody else signed it. And my question to Emmanuel, where are you coming up with all this money when you don't have money like that? Because if you did, you'd be paying all them apartment complexes that you got kicked out of, the apartments right there by Union School, the other apartments on 61st. You got so many evictions, it's unreal. And you didn't, you never paid that. So why, where are you getting all this money from? Why didn't you take and pay that stuff up that you owe these complexes? But I am here to tell you, by no means am I crazy, and by no means is Carrie going to pay for an apartment complex that you and your mother lived in, that you guys absolutely destroyed, that I had nothing to do with, and then they send me a bill because you guys wouldn't put down your email address And I was an emergency contact with my email address and my number. And so they sent the paperwork to me. I've got you guys out of so many things in the past. I am not billing you out of anything else. I'm not. I'm not. And I've got proof to prove what I'm saying. And so for me to sit back and, you know, lie about something, I have no reason at all to lie. That's not something that I'm going to get on here and do. So this video has gone a little bit longer than I had anticipated, an hour and 15 minutes. But sometimes you got to get on here and let people know the truth. All of these problems that are going on in that apartment is due to Emmanuel Smith. Whatever he's got going on there. If the owner was to look at it, he see the girls that he bring up in there, the people he bring up in there. This is supposed to be her apartment. And she wants to be independent. Why isn't she on her own in there and you're out of there? You're a grown man, 25 years old. Why don't you have your own place to live? Why are you living with your mama? That's my question. You know why? Because you can't get an apartment in your name because you've been evicted from everywhere and you owe money. Don't come in here telling my neighbors all kind of stuff about me that's not true. None of that stuff is true. When I speak, I guarantee you I can show you I have proof. I have no reason to lie. The landlord, the owner can contact ATF and ATF will tell them they made you surrender your assault rifle. And the reason why you had to surrender it, that was because you were locked up in a mental institution for 30 days. You had wrote on all over the walls 666, tore out the bathroom saying that there were demons in the wall. All of this came from you. Carrie didn't do it. I wasn't even there. And I will tell the owner of this property one thing. If you think I'm lying, go to the Riverside Division, and the police was there, and they were the ones that handcuffed you when you were punching holes in the wall and kicking holes in the wall, and it's all on police cam. So why are you lying on me? Stop lying on me. You need to stop lying on me. I'm an elder in your life. There is no way that I'm going to sit back and tell a lie on you. All of this went on and you blame me. And I told them, people from Copes, I did not want to sign that paperwork. My daughter Nikki wanted to sign it. And they said, no, we want Miss Carrie to sign it. So the day I had to sign it, because you were totally out of control, you were dragging your mom, saying that you were God, and taking her uptown, up trying to drag her upstairs to a neighbor's apartment, saying that she was Eve and he was Adam, and repopulate the land. All of this madness that you were doing. Walking through the house butt naked. I was on the phone with my daughter. You masturbating butt naked. What kind of mess is that? And you want to call me crazy? I'm not crazy by no means, but I'm going to tell it. I'm going to tell it to set the record straight. Don't you ever lie on me like that and run my name through the mud like I'm some kind of horrible person. I'm not. I am not a horrible person. I am a good tenant, and all you have to do is look at me on video cam here. I'm probably the only tenant in this place that goes in the laundry room, take the broom, sweep, clean up, make sure all the things are cleaned out, the filters and stuff. I am not a bad tenant. I'm just a tenant that won't put up with this mess. And so, Emmanuel, what you need to do, since you're a grown man, you need to be in your own space, in your own house. In your own space, in your own house, out of your mother's house. And let her live her life without you in there. And I got quiet for a minute because I just wanted to sit there for a minute. But don't you dare sit back and say that I'm doing anything. And whatever happened to her in that apartment is the men that she brought up in there. Has nothing to do with me. I could hear screaming. I could hear hollering. I could hear all this stuff. I don't know what was going on down there. And I sure didn't go to see. You told me to tend to my business, and that's exactly what I did. Now, family members can get mad as Hades at me, but I'm going to be one to tell the truth. All of this is coming from Emmanuel. And all Emmanuel they have to do, and family members, check out this stuff. Family members knew about this. My son was on the phone with him at that time. And every time she gets a place, here he is moving in with her, 25-year-old man. You a man. Why you don't have your own place? Why are you stuck up in your mama's place? And then you start meeting these women. One time you had a homeless woman up in there, a homeless white woman that you were having sex with. And the next thing I know, it was a bunch of mess about that. And the woman didn't want to leave because she said she had squatter rights. Another time, it was an older woman you got involved with that was a meth head. And then another time, it was another woman that you got involved with, and you got this white girl pregnant, and the baby was put up for adoption. All the drama is behind you, not me. I don't sit down and bother Vicitra. And I even was able to get a hold of that doctor at St. Francis Hospital. And he knew that when I showed pictures of Vikitra's wrists that time, and they were all cut into, and when she was in the psychiatric unit at St. Francis, they knew immediately. They said no, said we had to call security to tie her down because she tried to stab a nurse with a pencil. It's all in the records. I don't have to lie about any of this. And I'm not crazy. And I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to speak the truth. When I came down and I had to stop downstairs and get a bracelet and stuff, and then I had to call the psychiatrist on the floor to come down and get me because they wouldn't let me. Why they wouldn't let me up, I don't know. But he was like, I don't understand this. I'll be right down there, Karen. So he came down. He took me back on the unit. She had like it's like a robot that watches her. You know, they have the robot sitters. It's 2026, and they keep an eye on the patient and everything that they do. And when I got there, her wrists were cut, and she told me that the security, which was the Tulsa Police Department, had handcuffed her down. Now, the hospital said they had to tie her down, and she was fighting, and the ties cut into her wrists, and it cut through her wrists. I never done. She had bruises all over her body. I said, where'd these bruises come from? And they said, probably from her fighting back. And afterwards, I got an attorney, and I took it to the attorney's office. And I said, I'm not going to sit here and take pictures of your body, Vicitra, without a written statement saying that I could take a picture of these bruises on your body and turn them over to this lawyer. And that's what I did. And they are still at the lawyer's office today. They didn't take the case, but they still have all of that in there with the signed consent of her for me to take those pictures. So I don't know who is doing this, but you need to stop. I worked very hard in school to get my degrees, and to ruin my reputation and to keep this stuff going, this narrative is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. It's time that this family stop taking up for Emmanuel. Emmanuel is grown. And every time this drama starts when he gets in his mama's apartment because he feel like it's his apartment, he runs things. He tells her what she can buy at the store and what she can't buy, but it's her money. He turns around and bring the women in. That's what you do in your home, but that's not your home. That's her home. But like I said, I stay out of it. I'm not going down there. And don't think that I'm a bad mom, guys. Everybody that watched this video, I am a good mother. I have been there. If you look through hospital records, I was the only one that was there. None of my family. Tommy wouldn't answer. Kia wouldn't answer. Her daughter wouldn't answer. Nobody would answer. And now all of a sudden you're like the hero here. And to sit back and talk about, I'm gonna do you like I'm gonna do you before you do me. because you had to go. You are on camera, Emmanuel, with the Tulsa Police Department at Riverside Division. They had to handcuff you because of your behavior. You kicking holes in the wall. Who went down there? Uh, I'm not going to call his name, but my daughter's son-in-law went down there and fixed that bathroom. And I could have the police call him. And I was the one that patched all the holes in the wall. I was the one that got graffiti remover and washed all the 666 off the dang on walls and off the front door. And he had started fires in front of the complex. It's all in the police reports. Neighbors were calling about the fires. All of this stuff he was doing, not me. And I wasn't down there, and they would call me to come down there. Sometimes I would come, sometimes I would not come. But I am the fall guy. Anything that goes wrong in their life, I'm the fall guy, like putting blame on me. No, I am not the reason behind this. You better take a look at the people that live in her house. I don't live in her house. I've never lived in her house. I've never even stayed ever with my daughter overnight until I came out here to this complex. And like I said, to sit back and tell me as your mom that, get out. When you stay with me a year, 6 months out of a year, and they brought you to me on a stretcher, and I took care of you, took care of your feet when you had diabetes sores on there, took you down, made sure that they healed, was with you when you rang the bell at the wound center here in Tulsa. And you stayed with me another 3 or 4 months out of the year until tenants in my previous apartment complex that I live said, this is not fair. Carrie's daughter, Vikitra, stays in here all the time, and we can only have guests for 3 days. And that's when the manager says she can't stay here anymore. And I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad mom because I tell you the truth. And I tell you about getting yourself involved with people that mean you no good. And they switch the narrative because they don't like me. Who is in your life? What man is in your life? It almost sounds like the one that did something to me. To switch a narrative like that and paint me as a bad person. And like I said, one person keeps popping on up and on the top up there. I can see one popping on and off. And like I said, I'm going to always tell the truth. And like I said, trust me, if I'm telling you this, I got a video to back it. So don't lie on me. I'm tired of being lied on. Don't lie on me no more. Keep my name out of your mouth. I'm not involved in your mess at any way. Like I said, if the check came in the mail, and I've heard rumors about this, honey, Carrie didn't sign it. My signature ain't on any kind of check. My mail was stopped. I can prove it. I filled out so many things with that inspector. Oh my God, they know me by name now. My mail being gone through. And I appreciate the tenant that brought me my mail. And she was so sweet. She said, I didn't even touch it. She said, I looked and seen it and I put it right back in the box. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is looking. Who was behind getting my mail? What was supposed to come to me in the mail that somebody else didn't want me to receive? It was something that was supposed to get to me in the mail, evidently, because to go through those kind of measures to keep me from receiving my mail. I even would take pictures of letters. I would sit the camera down, and you could see me taking and I put $5 in the envelope 3 times. And I sent it to me and never got the money. Somebody else got it. But here's the thing where I made my mistake. I wasn't thinking. What I should have done was put $50 in there in a cashier's check made out to me and then let them sign it. I wasn't using my head, but I was trying to see only if I would get my mail. Never received that mail. To this day, wrote several letters to myself and was able to show the people at the post office they could see it. And me putting it in the thing, never received it. Somebody's lying, and it's not me. But I'm telling Emmanuel, keep your mouth off of me and stop lying on me. You're mad at me because of the simple fact, and I'm very upset with Cubs for having me sign something to put him somewhere and then to have this kind of retaliation to come against me. That is totally wrong. Totally wrong any day of the week. And all of this is family out here. So, it's just a family thing. If you look at it, you'll all see the ones that are complaining, like they're family, except for the white man, a couple of white people, and they're all friends. No, I am not stooping down to a level of I don't have, well, number one, I don't get medication every month from nowhere because I don't have high blood pressure, I don't have diabetes, I don't take anything. The only thing I take is a multiple vitamin. But I don't sell, if I had medication, I wouldn't be selling anything. You know, I'm not hating at all. Whoever this is say, why are you hating? I'm not hating at all, darling. And for you to say something about me hating, how do you know I'm hating? How do you know that I'm hating? And like I said, no one, you don't have to be on the live. All you have to do is get off. I'm not hating at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, like I said, if you don't want to hear what's on the channel, don't get on. Why do I have to hate? Well, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on. I mean, I just get on and tell the truth. Well, I say a lot of things that people won't say. And like I said, people don't want to know the truth. Talking about hating. Where'd you get this money from? Who gave you this kind of money? Who gave you this kind of money? Really, I could care less myself because I'm the type of person I would rather do without and have integrity than to sit back and do something that I know is wrong. If I knew something was due somebody, ain't no way in the world I'm going to take it from them. That's just not me. And so you do you and say that, why am I hating? I'm not hating at all. You cannot stop a person. I raised my kids in church. I don't know about other people, but I raised them in the Word of God from little tiny kids to know the Word of God. And as they got older, you know what? You would think that some of the things that they were taught in church, they'd apply it to their life. And that means a Holy Ghost filled man. And like I said, I don't have to hate on anybody. Don't want to hate. But don't bring me in the middle of your mess. You understand me? Talking about me, saying this stuff about me, and you're going to sign me over in a nursing home. Really, Emmanuel? No, I'm not a doctor per se. No, I'm not. It's just the name that you get when you go through and get your PhD. That's all. I'm not a medical doctor at all. But when you get a PhD, it's just Dr. Carrie Hall. You can look me up. There's an article on me. It's Transylvania Times, Dr. Carrie Hall. You can look up that article and it'll show how I went through college 9 years straight to get all of my degrees. And I could truly say, why are you hating on me? And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I'm not going to argue with anyone. The truth always comes out. God has a way of pulling the truth out, making it come out. And so, like I said, I've been on here long enough, guys. You have an amazing Sunday. I'm getting ready to get on here. Church is already going on. So I went past church, but I'm getting ready to get on here and go to church. And you guys have an amazing Sunday. God bless you. And as always, you're listening to absolutely the best and inspirational podcast. You're listening to Dr. Carrie Hall, broadcasting live from T-Town, Oklahoma. God bless you and have an amazing day, everybody. Talk to you later.